Hi, I'm Tim,
I'm Lizzie.
and this is To Play,
Or not.
To Play, a show about board games for two players.
Whose tastes may differ.
Hi everybody, okay, so today we're taking a look at Dominion by Rio Grande Games. This is a 2 to 4 player game. Again, obviously we're looking at it as a 2-player game. So the idea with this game is that you are a landowner, very small landowner. You've got a very small little domain, but you want to make a massive kingdom. You want to make a dominion.
Dominion. That's the name.
So you want to grow your little kingdom, tiny little area, to a massive domain. But there are other such like persons who also want to do the same thing in your area. So there's a bit of a fight over the land. So that's the idea with the game, and this plays out in a deck building game. So this is a whole new concept for people.
It's one hell of a deck building.
Yeah, if you've not played deck building games, this is the original kind of deck building game.
The deck building.
And the concept is you have a hand of cards, relatively small. So in this case, it's 10 cards you start with in your hand, or in your supply. It's not confusing now. And with those 10 cards, you play them, buy things, and then you pick them up and reuse them. Recycle, I think is the phrase you use. So the way that it works is you have the initial 10 cards, and you take 5 of those cards, and you shuffle the deck, take 5. And then those 5 cards you use in your go. You may lay them down on the table and use them to buy things. For instance, you might have some copper coins. You'll buy another card, and that you buy that card from the central area into your hand, and then that's your discarded used cards. But they're not used up; they're used for that hand. Then you draw back off of your little
New supply.
your deck. You've only got 5 cards left in that, so you draw back up to 5 cards. And that's your hand for the second go, other person plays. And then you do the same sort of thing. You might use some copper coins to buy something from the middle, put it into your discard pile, put these other cards down, that's your go. And then those cards aren't dead to you, they are your supply. They always will be all the way through the game. And you've added a couple of cards. I know, it's a strange thing. You've added a couple of cards to your deck, the ones that you've bought. So now in the sort of discard pile, you haven't got 10 cards, you've got 12 cards. So you're out of cards now, there's nothing left in your supply deck, so you pick that discard pile up, shuffle that up, 12 cards now, put that down, draw 5 cards, and you've got 5 cards to use. And that goes on throughout the game, so you basically use whatever cards are in your hand. So for instance, now you might have in your hand something that you bought last go, which is an action to do something, things like that, whatever. And then you use those cards, play your go, and they're in your discard pile, draw back up. And
the aim is to get a better hand each time, slowly grow a bigger, better.
Yeah, it's just I'm just trying to get across that concept of building your deck up, and so this deck building thing is a whole. There are hundreds of games that do this thing. This was kind of the original, so I just wanted to get that across. That that's how it works.
Good. It's a good concept.
So anyway, so let's describe how the game plays then, because I just want to get that initial sort of concept of how the deck build. Eventually, you end up with. 60, 70 cards in your deck.
3 packs of actual playing cards.
Yeah, because you kind of started with 10, but you're buying cards and then reusing them, and you build up a big deck, and that's the whole point.
A dominion.
Eventually you've got this big dominion in your hand. So yeah, the way that it plays then is you lay out. First of all, we'll get to the point that there are lots of cards in this deck that you can select to play different versions, if you like, of the game. So for instance, there are 25 different little packs of, I think they're called
action cards.
They're called the supply. They're action cards. They're the supply of cards. There are 25 different decks that do different things, and they're called different things relative to the theme. So for instance, you might have a smithy, which is obviously makes ironworks and stuff. There's a pack of the smithy. You might not use that in your game because you're only using 10 of the 25, but the smithy will allow you to say take an extra go, or buy an extra coin or something like that.
I think the smithy, if I remember rightly, gives you 2 extra cards.
Good memory, if that's true.
So
you take 10 of the little decks anyway, randomly, or in the first game you play, it's suggested ones you play because they're the sort of easy kickstart, if you like. So you take 10 of the decks and you lay them out in the middle of the table, and they're the supply, and they're the ones that you can buy with your hand when you pay coins. And then there are a set of base cards that go across the top. They're copper, gold, silver. They're the three.
For silver, gold.
Indeed. Who cares? But and then they're the monies that you can use, and then there are 3 types of land that you can buy. There's an estate, which you start with 2 of those. There's an estate, a province, and a what's the other one? Province. So the province is the biggest one, the best one. So you start in your hand with 7 copper coins. 7 copper coins with which to buy things, and 3 estates. So they're the tiny. They're worth.
Not very good hand, really.
Yeah, it's a rubber. That's your tiny little realm at the beginning of the game. So you've got these 3 little estates. They're worth 1 victory point, and the idea is that you're trying to get as many victory points. You've only got, technically, when you start, 3 victory points, so 3 estates. So then the first person, like I say, you shuffle your little supply deck, which is 10 cards, so these 7 coppers and 3 estates. You shuffle those together and draw 5 cards. So those 5 cards might be all coppers. So you might have 5 coppers, woohoo, which is quite a good start.
Yeah.
So you use those 5 coppers, you look in the middle, and each of these cards in the supply have a monetary cost. So let's say, for instance, one of them is play an extra action. So it's, I can't remember what they all are, the cards, but we'll maybe show a selection of them now. But if it's, say, the smithy, and it was an extra action is the item there, you pay however much it costs. It might be 2 or 3 or 4 coppers. It's not really copper, silver, gold. It's kind of money. 1 copper is 1.
It's a coin.
Yeah, silver is 2 and gold is 3. So you need, say, 4 coins to buy the smithy. You've got 5 in your hand. You lay 4 down, take the smithy and add it into your discard pile, and then the other one is not use that game, that go. So you put it down, and that's your go gone. Your hand is empty, and then you draw back up to 5 cards from your deck, which you've got.
Would be the 3 estates.
It would be 3 estates and 2 coppers, basically, when you start. Yeah. So next go round, in your hand, you'll have 3 estates and 2 coppers. Now, those estates, provinces, and whatever they are not usable really in the game. They are just victory points at the end of the game, so you can't spend them.
It's like storage. You've got to store.
So you kind of don't really want to clutter your hand up with those too early on in the game, because if you picked up a hand of 5 estates, for instance, you wouldn't be able to do anything that go. Nada. Yeah, so you want to kind of keep them. You don't want too many of them at the beginning of the game. Build up your deck with money and actions and.
An example that you just gave, you'd have a smithy in your hand. Then, wouldn't you? Next go.
Next go, yeah. So next go when you shuffle up, yeah. So you basically play your 5 cards. The other person plays their 5 cards. They take their action, and I think you've got you basically have an action. They call it an ABC. So it's an action phase. So you let's say, for instance, you've got the smithy, and it's pick up 2 cards. if you're right, I'm amazed. So if the action is pick up 2 cards, you lay that action. So it's ABC action first. You lay that, pick up 2 cards, and you get those from the deck. Your deck. This is your discard deck. 2 cards, and then buy phase. So once you've done your action, you go into the buy phase. Well, I've got 4 coppers. I'll buy that card there. Put that into your discard pile, and then C is clean up. It was basically put all your cards down, and your go's finished. Draw back up the 5 cards. Then the other person plays their ABC action, buy, clean up, and it comes back to you. And obviously, you've then got your different cards. You do your action, buy, pick, clean up, and once you've ran out of cards, you shuffle those, and again you're back to your 5 cards. But hopefully, you've got some more interesting cards in your supply.
So it'll go from 10 to like 12.
Yeah, 13, and then 15, 16, 20, 50, 70.
3,000.
And it literally basically just keeps building up like that. And each of the cards enable you to power up your kind of actions, if you like, and your money, buying power.
And they can, someone can attack you, the other person.
There are some cards, that attack.
The one that said you get an extra action, and then it it makes the other person reduce their hand down to 3.
That's right. Discard 2 of their cards. Yeah. That's
so when it's their go, they only use 3 cards out of their deck, not 5.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, so you can attack the other person's hand if you like it. Their dominion. Dominion. So yeah, it's a strange concept.
It is.
But once you get that, so I'm reusing it. Yeah.
So to begin with, it's like these piles of 10. You think, wow.
Yeah. So you get through these. So So the idea is that you can increase your hand power. So for instance, you might have a card. When you get to your action phase, it's very confusing, but it's not. When you get to your action phase, you might have 3 action cards in your hand, which is great. But can you use them all? Because you've only got 1 action go. But one of your cards might say +1 action, which means when you play it, you can play another action. So you play that action, which might be
2 more cards.
Yeah, 2 more cards. So you take those 2 cards, and then you've got another action. So you
go.
play that action. That might also be plus action, which means then you can have another action. So you could end up having sort of 5, 6, 7 actions because you've got plus actions. But also,
I do like that.
Yeah, it's quite clever because then you can't look at your hand and think which is the
order
best
of
way
play.
to play them. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them might say, like you say, take up more cards, which that's good because then you've got more supply in your hand. You might end up with sort of 6 or 7 cards in your hand then.
Yeah.
8 or 9 even, I think, at some points.
And hopefully some of them will be money, so you can get
Yeah.
a big province. Which
Or
is
more
6
action,
straight
plus
points.
actions again. Some of the cards have +1 coin, +2 coins in your buy phase.
That's true.
So for instance, if you had 5 coins in your hand and you've laid 2 +1 coins, you've got 7 coins. So action +1 coin, action +1 coin, you've got 7 coins. You can buy something a bit more expensive.
Yep.
And then further on into the game, when you sort of played sort of 10, 15 rounds,
100
that
rounds,
that
120
sounds a lot, but
rounds.
it's not. They go really quickly. The professional players play this kind of
Yeah, we did.
whilst the other players shuffling their hand and putting it back in there. The
Right,
other
your go, come
yeah,
on.
it's
My go.
some,
Hold on, wait a
some people
minute.
play this really quickly, but we like to just kind of sit back and enjoy
We'll
it.
practice. We'll get there.
But yeah, you can then start thinking about buying the little estates, provinces, duchies, because they're worth victory points, obviously. So, for instance, the province is, I think it's 8 coins to buy it. It takes a while till you've got 8 coins. You might get to 7
I think
fairly
I've got
quickly.
Managed to get that about 3 times.
Because of course you're randomly picking up 5 cards, and chances are 5 cards don't hold 8 coins. You might have two silver, which is 4 or something, and then 2 coppers, which is 6. Oh, so close.
Yeah.
But getting to that 8 points, 8 gold in your hand or 8 coins in your hand to buy a
Better than me
province
at that, didn't you?
is quite difficult. So when you get to those points, then you want to start thinking like buying those provinces. Really quite good. So yeah, that's basically the aim of the game, and then
Very
the game
complicated way
ends.
of explaining, but
I know, it is
a
hard to
complicated thing
explain.
to explain.
Yeah.
If you're not playing it.
The game ends when either 3 of the supply stacks run out, so goods is empty, or if the provinces all get sold or bought, whichever way we want to look at it. So when all the provinces are gone, or when 3 of the supply stacks are gone, game over, and then you count up basically all your
Victory points, isn't it?
victory points, duchies, provinces, and estates. Add them all up. One with the most points wins. Simple. It does seem to take a long time to get to that point, doesn't it? This is one of your kind of complaints with the game, really.
Yeah, I mean, I did really like it. I could see why it's a popular game.
Yeah.
But at one point, our decks were massive,
And there are still.
and we're still thousands of cards to pick up.
Seems like quite a long way till we get to the
And
end.
I was a bit like, we're just doing the same thing over and over again. Is it just me, or am I just doing the same thing over and over again?
You
for
are.
an hour.
You are, but you are
I know,
trying
but
to.
I know it gets better, and you get better cards, and it's more interesting.
You're
'cause
trying to
you
be
get, like-
sneaky with
Yeah,
your
yeah,
add an action, add an action, add an action. Pick
Yeah.
up more cards, add an action.
But I was doing that for like an hour.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, we were also getting worried that the dog was going to start yowling at us because
Oh yeah.
we've got this very beautiful Rottweiler Ridgeback puppy. He's not really a puppy anymore. He's 14 months, but
Yeah.
he is a little bit impatient sometimes if we're sat playing games. So
Yeah.
ordinarily we'll let him come in and snuffle and
We were kind of half playing, half sorting him out, really, weren't we?
yeah. So we didn't really want. We were kind of trying to rush through it because it was obviously an hour's game, or it seemed to be dragging on longer than that because the game says 30 minutes on the box.
30 minutes was it? How long did we play it for?
Well, we played it for an hour and 15, I think, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, but again, that's because we were playing it slowly and sort
I
of we were
suppose,
kind of making sure we didn't get anything
We
wrong.
should play it again and try and be faster and see,
Yeah,
see
yeah.
if it lasts. Obviously, if it is 30 minutes.
It will be 30 minutes. But again, I guess there are. I think there's 10 I think there's 10 of each card, so there's 10.
That's why I said to you halfway through that there could be like 6 of each card.
Yeah, maybe you could. Yeah, I mean,
make it a bit.
you could play like house rules. Yeah, make it sort of 6 cards, and then when you've got through
I
it.
think
But
that's what I do next.
the only thing with that is, I guess that maybe you probably wouldn't get to the point where you've got enough buying power to buy the provinces.
There's still a choice of 10, isn't there? So 10 different cards.
Yeah, but you see, I mean, yeah, maybe that's why it's 10 cards,
Yeah.
but because it's balanced out, so that when you get to that point, you've then got the buying power to buy the 8 coined provinces. But then if you're both in the same boat and you can only buy the estates, which are 3 victory points, then you're both in the same boat anyway. So when the game ends, if none of you have bought any provinces, none of you have bought any provinces, so you're both.
Points, don't you?
Yeah. So it's the same thing. So yeah, but that might be why it's 10.
I like the illustrations; they're really good. The cards are really good.
They are, although a popular belief says that they're rubbish.
Really?
Yeah, I quite like them. I think they're not necessarily brilliantly drawn.
They don't give
but,
much like theme. Like I don't feel like I'm fighting you against.
No, I guess. Well, yeah, but that's quite hard.
Increase my kingdom.
No.
I don't really like not engrossed in this Dominion theme.
No.
But I do like I like the illustrations. I do.
Yeah, I like them. I think they're just not brilliantly drawn, maybe. But then it's like I think it came out in 2008 or something, so it's quite an old game now. So
and I do like the cards that you get cards that plus action. That whole thing about order of playing your cards to get like more
powering
actions,
up your hand. Yeah,
get more cards.
Very unusual. If you've not played any game like this before, it is very, very different.
There's one card that says you can play another action twice.
Yeah, any action in your hand twice. Yeah,
yeah, that was quite a good card. I did like that.
Yeah, and there's one action which is, I think it's called the Witch, where you can give your opponent a minus victory point card.
Yeah,
it's called a curse. Yeah, and so
that's good.
Yeah,
we were cursing each other.
So if you've got this card that says play 2 actions twice, so you play that card, play 2 actions twice, and you look in your hand. I've got a give her a curse. So you play 2 actions twice, pick up a curse. Yeah, witch. Yeah, pick up a curse. So that's a minus victory point, and play again. Two minus victory points. So yeah, if you get, and then of course that can come around again when you shuffle your deck and it comes up in the later hand. Ooh, but of course you might not have that same combination.
It's got a nice surprise of like, what's in my card?
Yeah,
what
can I do? Yeah.
Okay.
And then of course, the further into the game you get, you've got more of these green lands, the province, duchy, and the estates. So you might pick up a hand full of those, and you're like, no, I can't do anything this go. So that's the kind of balance that you have to have, is this whether you're going to build up all your estates and stuff early on, which big alert, don't do that. Keep that till near the end when you see sort of the cards are starting to dwindle and you're getting near the end game.
I do like the fact that at the beginning you can choose the different cards that you have as a whole.
So that gives it a lot of playability. You can just randomly. There's a I can't remember how we did it now, but there's a randomizer. Oh, there's a randomizer card, I think.
Yeah. I didn't see it.
It's no. You there's a little deck of all the cards. That's right. Yeah. There's a little deck of all the cards called the randomizer deck. You shuffle that and then draw 10 of those, and whatever those 10 are, that's the packs that you pick. Yeah. So that's how we played that last game, for instance. The first time we played it.
It'd be interesting to play different cards.
Yeah, because they've got different powers and different pluses and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, it is quite interesting. So this was one that I kind of brought to the table. So I guess I'll go first then. I like the concept of this a lot. It's a very, very different, and it's just a card game. That's all that's in the box. It's just cards. Brilliant idea. We played a couple of games like this now since this game where it's just cards, and it's quite surprising what you can do with a pack of cards. One of your top 10s I'm thinking of, particularly Tides of Time.
Tides of Time. Yeah. We'll play that one soon.
Yeah. So we'll do a review on that. Yeah,
and
because
like paperback as well.
Yeah, well, again, that's
another one in my top 10.
Yeah.
Oh, I like deck builders.
You do like deck builders. So yeah, as far as the concept goes, I love it. It's a really good idea. It's quite compact, and it plays well. The theme, like you say, it's kind of not really there. I guess it is, but it's not. You don't really kind of pay attention to it too much. It's just a card game.
I'm sorry you like it loads. It's not got your things you love about the tile laying and the
that's the thing. It's not really a board game, is it?
Yeah,
so it is. It's a card game.
Yeah.
Set collection.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it is a very, very good one to play if you have not played this kind of game before. It gives you an idea of that sort of concept. There are lots of expansions as well, so you can you can buy lots of different expansions.
2 to 4 players. 4 players.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to play. I've never played it as a 4 player. Score, I will give this 7.5.
7.5.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I think so.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. I'm more of a 6.
Yeah?
Yeah.
6 and 7.5. 13.5. I'm struggling then for some reason. I half did it for me. 13.5. 13.5.
Yeah, it's still a good game.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, it's a fun game. We enjoyed it. It was away a Sunday afternoon.
If you've not done deck building before,
Yeah, it's a very good start.
To, like,
Yeah, this is the second edition.
I
I don't know if there's a later edition now, but the second edition is a little bit better. They kind of honed the cards a little bit better. They got rid of a couple of the waster cards, if you like.
Yeah. I play it again. It's a good game.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, well there you go. Dominion, the deck building game. If you've not played one, check it out. And it may open a whole new world to you. Magic the Gathering. Ooh. Don't go there. So 13.5. Thanks very much for watching this one, and we'll see you on the next review. Thanks very much. Bye bye.